All right, so since it's just the two of you, do you have any questions so far as to the activities that we've been doing so far?
Just on the sketch one. On the sketch one, it was we did have to try to sketch from the 3 images, correct?
Correct.
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanna make sure I did it correct.
Yeah. And so for anyone who's looking at this video later, when you refer to a sketch, it doesn't need to look anything like the images that you're seeing currently. So let me look up some sketches for you real quick. Sketching idea examples. And that's where a lot of people feel very self-aware that they don't know how to draw or something like that. And it doesn't really need to be anything cohesive as long as it conveys an idea to you. And that's the more important part of it, things. So here we go. So let me share my screen. Oh, sure. So you can see my browser. And here you can see, for example, we have these what are essentially flowers, right? So the very first one is a rough sketch or an idea. And then the third one you could consider to be a more, it's still roughly made, but it's a more refined sketch. What I'm asking you guys to do is, simply describe the idea that was being presented to you guys, right? So if I were to show you a flower and tell you to sketch it, this first sketch would be completely acceptable, right? So you don't need to worry about going into full depth as to how to make something, drawn out. Okay. So something simple like this is going to be more than enough for that assignment. Okay.
Okay,
In
thank you.
terms of let me stop that. So in terms of the midterm, you guys have already been working with your proposal. So I would suggest just go ahead and make sure you have turned in what's the name of it? The preview from this week. Let me pull up the assignment. The presentation preview. So in terms of the presentation preview, you can make the PowerPoint if you wish, or you can just do it on a Word document, whatever is easier for you. I'm not particularly picky on that. So just make sure you have that turned in. That way I can tell you if there's anything that you need to change. Once that is done, basically any revisions that need to be done to it or anything that you feel that you would want to change. And then basically you're submitting that exact same file to the midterm that is going to be opening up next week. Okay. Like I said, if I don't give you any notations on the assignment itself, then you're fine. And you can basically just re-upload that exact same file that you submitted. If I do give you some observations, try and change those because otherwise you're going to have a lower grade on the midterm just for not, taking the time to fix those issues. Other than that, it's going to be a fairly easy midterm for you guys. So any other questions?
No, not at the moment.
Would you be able to provide like an example of the midterm? Because I'm a visual person, so I would have to see more or less what we need to be turning in.
So you should have, hold on, let me bring it up. Share. Here we go. So you all see my Word document?
Yes.
Yes.
So in and of itself, you can see in here how it's being broken down. So client goal identify, the client and the project to be. So again, you don't need to adhere to these amount of slides. And like I said, I could even take, for example, a Word document. So for example, client goal. So in here, have a big title, client goal, identify the client. So, just put like a picture, for example, if you're making a service for schools, just put like a picture of a school or something. Or if you have like a specific school in mind, you could just put a logo from that school in there. So for example, let's say that you wanted to change the vending machines on SU, right? So you could put client project here, so SU logo, and then, so identify the project, what it hopes to accomplish, change all the vending machines so that way there's actually snacks on them, stuff like that. And then target audience, who's your target audience? Well, the students that are in school, and then start these things. These parts here are fairly simple. You don't really need to go into a lot of an elaboration on them. So for example, key demographics, students from the age of 18 up until, there's really no limit on what a student's age can be. Key psychographics, normally students of our lower income, so you're selling to them lower end snacks, stuff like that, just to kill the hunger. Challenges, what type of snacks do they want? So you're gonna have to look at, if it's something that they like spicy, salty, sweet, or, a mixture, and then see which ones are actually selling, which not. Preferred channels, well, obviously you're going to be trying to sell to them in public, but this more than anything else refers to what channels do you think you would attack. So if you're addressing younger people, obviously Facebook ads, Instagram, those type of things, social media is where it's going to be at, where in terms of your target audience. Now, older generations, some of them are in social media, but not everyone. So, for example, my mother, if you tell her you can see your news on Facebook, she's going to just nod her head and be like, cool, and then just turn on the TV to look for the news. So just keep that in mind in terms of like the preferred channels is how are you going to target that demographic in terms of delivering your content to them. And then the preferred content, is it going to be a video? Is it going to be a static image like a little poster, stuff like that? Okay. Collect information, list out important questions you got answers to. So how you came to these solutions in terms of, if I want to target this set of audience, then I do this. Now, the one that a lot of students have more issues with is the mood board. This does not mean that you need to collage out the idea of your, of your advertisement. It's just, for example, if you see a particular, for example, a layout, let's start off in order. So you see a particular arrangement in another billboard or something that you like. So you like how it flows through how they present the information. You can put the picture of that billboard. You don't need to give any context about it. You just put it in there. For example, the text, if you like a specific type of font that you would like for your advertisement, you just put a picture of that font in there. So if you see the words, for example, if you like the font of the Coca-Cola brand, you can just put the Coca-Cola in there. Color, similar thing. If you like a color scheme, you can just put wherever you took the color scheme from and then just dump it in there. Photography illustrations, they fall more or less under these categories. So any type of photography or illustrations that you find that you feel appeal to you, okay? Then finally, the sketch, again, just a rough sketch of what you're trying to do in your mind, okay? Again, it doesn't really necessarily need to look like anything to me. As long as you understand what that sketch represents, that is more than enough, okay? Does that hopefully answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Alrighty. So, any other questions?
For the midterm, this is not due until, is it due this Sunday or is it going to be due next week, like Monday or Tuesday?
So the midterm itself is going to be due on Tuesday.
Okay.
The activity 3 for week 3 is due on Sunday as always. Okay, so the activity weeks, those are due on Sunday, but the midterm is not going to be open up until next week. And the deadline, unfortunately for that, is what the school gives us. So I'll be collecting those on Tuesday. Like I said, if you don't have any observations that need to be changed, then you can basically resubmit the exact same file. and you will be good. Okay.
Okay.
So my advice is just try to get that activity for week 3 done as fast as possible. So that way, if there is something that needs to be changed on your midterm, you can go ahead and do so with time. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You mean Tuesday on the 7th, next week?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because I believe midterms start from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we'll put it smack in Tuesday. So that way, technically, you guys do have quite a bit of time for it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
No, not at the moment.
Well, all right. So that is it for today. Thank you for coming in. And basically, we're going to do another one of these towards the end of the term. So, like same to answer any questions that you might have and to address how the final is going to be handled. Okay. That is it for tonight. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
Have a
sorry,
good
I
night.
have one more question.
What's up?
So where it says that to create the presentation preview, you mean like this one that you just told us?
Yes. So follow that exact template and you should be good for that. And once that is done, you can resubmit that for the midterm if there are no things that need to be changed once I review it.
Okay. Thank you.
Alrighty. Have a pleasant evening.